All right, Master Connectors, you know what time it is. Let's go.
He challenged me. He said, you should meet 2 or 3 people every day.
We're talking about how to level up on LinkedIn, engagement, being the go-giver, the idea that being open to opportunity.
We're all deal with challenges, but how do you overcome them?
Master Connector with Steve Spiro and Cameron Toth is live on air.
Yes, we are. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to come to you right here before I introduce you and send you over to my main man, Steve Spiro. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm coming to you from Valhalla, New York. Steve is coming to you from Stamford, Connecticut. And our guest, Brandon Puffer, is tuning in from Georgetown, Texas. So we got a lot of folks in the house. Let us know. Get into the comments. Be a LinkedIn active person, not a LinkedIn lurker. That's what we want from you. Steve, I know you're ready over there to introduce us today's topic. Let's go.
Absolutely. What's going on, friends? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. So I got to ask you a question. Do you know that you're greater than your worst mistake? Let me ask you this. Have you ever hit rock bottom and felt absolute despair? What if you were on the top of the world and your whole life just came crashing down? What would you do? How about if you went from being a World Series ring holder, okay, wearing an MLB uniform, and all of a sudden you're in, if you went from, stripes, and your uniform to stripes and a prison uniform, okay? Do you have the grit to overcome something like that, challenges like that, and come back like a champion? Or maybe you've never hit a high point and you're just looking to kind of get in a better place, right? Maybe you've always been in a dark place and you're looking to get out. I've never hit that major pinnacle point in my life, but definitely I've had some nice points in my life. Hitting double black belt, that was a good point in my life, but nothing as crazy as our guest has accomplished. And you are honestly going to be captivated by today's guest and his story. So if you're ready for me and for my man, Mr. Cameron, to bring up and introduce our guest for today, I'd like you to put in the comments right now. Thank you, Cameron, right on you there. Hashtag bring it. Put on bring it, and I'm going to have Cameron bring on Mr. Brandon Puffer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Georgetown, Texas, Brandon Puffer knows about bad choices. In 2011, after 3.5 years in prison, Brandon Puffer was eligible for parole and started his new life. Today, Brandon Puffer is the co-founder of GPS Legends, where he serves as a coach and mentor to 17-year-old players. GPS Legends began in 2018 and is driven with the mission to create a competitive baseball environment by instilling character, developing leaders, and building confidence one player at a time. Brandon Puffer is a former pro baseball player or relief pitcher. Puffer played in Major League Baseball with the Houston Astros, San Diego Padres, and San Francisco Giants. Puffer was promoted to the Boston Red Sox in 2004 when they won the World Series. Please welcome to the show the author From the Bullpen to the State Pen, Mr. Brandon Puffer.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What an intro. I feel like I'm running out of the bullpen, got my hair on fire, ready to eat. That's awesome.
Well,
so happy to be here.
We're glad to have you, man. We're glad to have you. And you got your fellow Texanites. Yolanda is in the comments. She's saying, welcome, Brandon. We appreciate you having on here. So, Steve, get us started on this. Get us into this first question.
Absolutely. And Brandon, good to see you. I know I had some technical challenges on the back end early backstage of show, but good to have you on here. Good to see your smiling face. And I love your background behind you. That's pretty cool. Look at that. It's good stuff.
I feel like we're at the yard, we're at the stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in the big leagues right now. That's for sure.
That's
right. Master Connect, the show is big league,
Yes,
but anyway,
yes,
so we listen, I obviously we're all about moving forward. We never want to kind of look back But you know what? We've learned from the history, from history that, how you can do better when you look back and you could, move forward. Right. So, I know you had some pretty low times. So community wants you to type in a hashtag rock bottom. Okay. And so we've all hit, those, most of us have hit that low point. Right. And I know, your book, right, from bullpen to the state pen, right? Tell us a little bit about your rock bottom experience without getting into too much detail. Obviously, we want to focus on where you are now, but just, give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on and kind of, where you were and kind of, again, without the details of what went down, but, kind of where, what happened there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Stephen. And I think you're right. It's important to go back and reflect. We don't stay there or live there, but it's important to encourage others. I feel like we're most equipped to help those that we've had the same experience with. And so for me, it was, like you said, just kind of having that dream of being a Major League Baseball player, accomplishing that dream. But who was I really? Like, what was my identity? And at that point, my identity was all wrapped up in Brandon Puffer, the baseball player. And I had some addiction issues off the field. Like we all kind of battle our own demons. And it just took one bad compromise, one bad night for me to really, like you said, lose it all. Honestly, it's not being dramatic. I started over from scratch after my 3.5 years in prison. And it was ironically everything I needed in terms of just finding humility, finding out who I really was, finding out that, it's not all about just me. And I needed that. So yeah, going from, the very top to the very bottom, literally in one night with one bad choice, flipped my life upside down. And then, like you said, the beauty of it is the redemption. And that's my story, is to encourage others on, hey, if you've been there and maybe it wasn't as dramatic as mine, but you felt pain and you felt rock bottom, there is life after that. And we have to be intentional about how we go about it, but there absolutely is life and a great life after that.
That's awesome. And listen, I can't even imagine or fathom what you've experienced, but I'll just share a little sort of fantasy I've always had, right? As you probably know, I martial arts background, and, there was always this part of me, right? At some points in my training, I got super hardcore. I just wanted to just challenge and test everything about me, and not from an ego standpoint, just from a, if I'm reading, re-listening to David Goggins' book again, and just how he just challenged himself just to kind of break, just to see what he was capable of, right? So there's always been a part of me that said, hey, what if I went to jail, for a while, just to kind of so I could work out 7-8 hours a day if I want to, and if inmates were to challenge me, I get to, test my wares, if you know what I mean. And
yeah,
but that was a fantasy, right? But I don't know to what degree, but you lived some of that. It's crazy. So kudos to you for getting through it and coming out of it on the better side of it, and looking at, and again, one of the pillars of our show is having the grit to overcome obstacles. And you certainly have that. And again, overcome them, right? And moving forward. And so one of the things that I know you speak about is you speak about hope. So I'd like the community, if you're ready, I want you to type in hashtag hope, HOPE. Okay. Like Cameron said, we're LinkedIn participants, not LinkedIn lurkers, right? So I want you to type in hashtag hope. And so Brandon, we want to know, you say you need to have hope to cope. Tell us more, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. That quote came right to my mind. If you didn't say it, I was going to say it. And I truly believe that you have to find hope, and where you find your hope, that's a personal journey. For me, my faith is very important to me. I actually learned that hope to cope quote from Rick Warren, my favorite pastors who wrote the foreword of my book. And I just, whatever your faith is, or whatever you have to be grateful for, we all have something. We all do. If we really look at it and we have an attitude of gratitude and we really lean into that, it's really tough to be down, upset, angry, or any of those emotions that, we don't care to feel for very long when you're grateful. And I kind of link hope and being grateful together, because that's what gives me hope, is all the things I have to be grateful for, all the blessings in my life. Even when I was in my rock bottom and walking through that prison, which I don't recommend you do, Steve. I think you could work out. I think you can handle your own, but I don't recommend. That's not the way to go. However, even in that time, just really writing down what I'm grateful for, meditating on things I have to be grateful for, things in the past I was grateful for. And then coming forward, like you said, it's looking back and going, if you made it through that, you can make it through this. And don't get me wrong, my mind still goes to like, oh, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I got all this going on, this is crazy. And it's like, no, pull from your past. And if you can't pull from your past, pull from other people's past. I oftentimes, when I was in there, I looked at stories of guys who came and shared with us and had an abundant life after prison. And I pulled from that. I was like, all right, I'm hanging on to that. That there is life after this. And I can't wait to see what's next. And just again, not that it was always perfect. I mean, we go through our ups and downs emotionally, but when things are good and when I feel like I'm at peace is when I'm connected to what I'm grateful for. And it's giving me hope to move forward and put that one foot in front of the other.
That's awesome. And you spoke about gratitude, and one of the things that I'm a big believer of gratitude. I have every morning I put a little list of 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it doesn't have to be sophisticated. It could be when you wake up, you got air in your lungs, right? You woke up over the ground versus under the ground, if you know what I mean, right? In the ground, if you will. But so gratitude is important. And so I like to hashtag gratitude for our communities. When you're ready, let's put in that real quick. And let's dig into that a little bit. You talked about having gratitude. And so dig into that a little bit more. Why do you feel it's important to have an attitude of gratitude? What's been your experiences and why that's so important?
Yeah, I think because it's so easy to get just consumed with self and consumed with everything that's wrong and everything that your failures. And it's just really easy, at least for me, to really dwell on that. And that's a battle for me to this day. I have some real big wins during the day, be it coaching or, encouraging people or whatever it is. And then if I get a negative comment or feedback, I'm going to dwell on that. And it's like, man, why do we do that? Why is that the natural bent? So it's important to, learn from constructive criticism, of course, but really focus on, like I said, just how grateful we are for the positive things that are happening. And I think we're able to focus on that. And to your point, it doesn't have to be major. And I'm just like you. If I can't think of something I wake up, I'm like, man, so many folks didn't wake up today. They don't have breath in their lungs. I do. And I feel like if I do, and God decided to wake me up, then he's got a purpose for me that day. So now it's like, okay, let's see what that purpose is. And 100% of the time, it's outside of myself. It's going to encourage someone else. It's a smile or a conversation in your daily life. Doesn't have to be anything major, like a huge podcast or show, but just an encouraging word, a smile that someone might need to bring them hope. And now selfishly, I draw from that and I get encouraged when I've encouraged someone else.
That's awesome. And as you know, and that's why, after we had our conversation, I was like, we need to have this man on our show because there's so many things that resonate with what you're speaking about. That's a part of what we're about, right? So one of our other pillars is being others focused, being that sort of go-giver, right? Like on the intro video talks about, right? So that's so important. And, it is easy for us to be self-absorbed, especially a guy who's like me, who was shy and introverted, and there was all sorts of stuff that I've dealt with in my life. And when you're in this sort of protection mode and you just want to protect you, it's just like, it's never about anyone else. It's only about me. And I've learned to do the opposite and to focus on other people. And I found it so rewarding to be able to work on, to really look at other people and see them grow. And, I've been very, very blessed to be mentored myself. And I've been able to pay that forward with folks. And so we want to talk a little bit about mentorship. And so when you're ready, I'd like you to type in hashtag mentor. And as an interesting, it's actually, I think it's a Greek word. I think it comes from a story of, I believe it was either Greek or I forget. I should probably done my homework. But there was a character called Mentor, right? Do you know the story of this, Brandon, by chance or no?
I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just tracking it.
That was his title. That was his name, and it became this verb now, right? Or whatever. I'm not learning disabled, dyslexic as well, and never did great in school. So verb, adjective, I never know the difference. But mentorship is super important. Back to that, right? So hashtag mentor. But I know mentorship's important to us, but it's also understandably a mentor. It's important to you. So why is it so important to have a coach and a mentor, and then be one yourself? Why do you feel that's such an important thing?
Yeah, it's huge. And I think it is, again, we go back to that word of encouragement, because I think if left to our own or trying to be a lone wolf out there, we're going to just gravitate back to self and beating ourselves up and that kind of stuff. So having someone come alongside you who is not going to just tell you what you want to hear, but it's going to hold you accountable and gonna push you a little bit to be the best version of yourself. You mentioned earlier, Goggins and different people that really want to test the limits of what they're capable of. I think when we're not naturally, it sounds like you are a little bit, and I am a little bit naturally inclined to do that, but maybe not to the full extent if someone comes alongside us and helps us go. And that's pushing towards greatness. But then also, in the terms of where I get to mentor a lot, yes, a lot of times it's baseball and trying to make these kids the best version of themselves. But more often than not, I've had the struggles that they have. I've had the thoughts that they've had for the most part. I can relate to feeling unworthy and feeling like, man, my thoughts and my actions just don't line up with who I want to be. And I think the more people that are verbal or vocal about that and gives other people permission to go, yeah, me too. I've had these struggles. And so then you can come alongside and they're open and available. You've built a bridge of trust and a bridge of, hey, man, I'm not coming at you trying to help you or lead you because I have it going on. I don't, but I do some stuff. And I think I can help you avoid maybe some of the mistakes or you go back to some of the positive things I did with my career. I also can help you along with persistence and perseverance and consistency and all these things that help me achieve the positive goal I had in my life, which also helped me get through the low times. That career, that mindset really helped me get through, the rock bottom and has helped me build from there. And it came from a lot of great mentors.
We've talked about this a lot in the past, Steve. Your test is your testament.
Right.
The idea that, you can, when you have been through bad stuff, man, you are in such a better position to be meaningful in the life of somebody that's gone through or going through bad stuff, right? Because it's real easy to ignore somebody that you're saying, man, you haven't been there. You don't know what I'm going through. You're not, you're not dealing with that. You don't have these issues. You don't have these challenges. I talk to high school students and, some of them are struggling, with the high school thing. And they see me and I walk in, I'm in a suit and I have a business and I got a family, and they might know some of that or might not know any of that, but they just sort of assume looking at me, oh, this is another white guy, college graduate, he doesn't have the same problems. And then I start telling my story. And, you start going through, well, I didn't graduate high school. I ended up, getting my GED. I had a kid at 19. Oh, really? Okay. And suddenly somebody that wasn't intent on listening, suddenly their ears perk up. All right, this is relevant to me. And it puts you in a really, really particularly good position to change the life of somebody that, they're not going to hear this message from somebody else. They're not going to hear it from the guy that, that even though they're doing good things and they're doing amazing things, they're not in a position where this kid is really going to understand where they're coming from. Your test is your testimony, right? This is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And by the way, I did find it, the story behind Mentor. The story is the story of Mentor comes from Homer's Odyssey. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, fights in the Trojan War and entrusts the care of his household to Mentor, who serves as a teacher and overseer of Odysseus's son, Telemachus. I don't know if I said that right. After the war, Odysseus is condemned to wander vainly for 10 years in his attempt to return home. So that is a little bit about little history, little information. I don't know if it's history, but little trivia there about the word mentor. But so important to have someone in your life and someone who's walked the walk, right? And again, you don't have to. It's not a woe is me thing. It's like, hey, I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I've overcome, and there's nothing you that the mentor is going to have gone through. The mentee may have different situations, but it's all translatable, right? And I love the fact that you're mentoring youth. I've heard this many times. I didn't do a lot of sports growing up. I was second singles on my tennis team, and I did some little league. But I know that coaches in general, the good ones go well beyond just coaching you in sports, right? I'm sure you've had many coaches in your life to the level of what you did in terms of MLB and so forth. But they mentor you in many aspects of your life, right? I mean, can you attribute to that, Brandon, at all?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the baseball, the coaching is just kind of the caveat that gets us their ears, gets their attention, and we want to make them great baseball players. But you draw so many parallels in any sport. But I'm in the baseball world, so many parallels are drawn. I mean, baseball's a huge game of failure. I know we hear that all the time, and it's like helping them adapt to that and fail forward and next pitch, the last one's behind you. Same in life. Like, you make a mistake, it's okay. All right, let's learn from it, move forward. That's gone. We can't let that affect our next decision or our next choice. And I mean, I just find, again, to Cameron's point, which was a great one, when I was in prison, folks would come in and volunteer and share with us and automatically bless their heart because they took the time to come in. But if it was a group who came in from a church and just kind of like feel good and we want to help you and encourage you, awesome. But there's that party that's like, you don't know what I'm going back to. You've never been through this. And then all of a sudden someone comes in, hey guys, I've been where you sit. I wore white. I wore the uniform. And you're like I said, you said perked up. It's like, okay, I got to learn from this because he's been there. He or she has been there. And same with baseball. Like, it gives us, being a big league doesn't make you coach automatically. There's guys with very little experience that are phenomenal coaches in our program. But they do look to you and go, okay, I want to go there. He's been there. Let's kind of figure some stuff out on how we can draw from that and learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. That's great stuff. Well, I know that you had mentioned earlier how important faith is in your life, right? And it is for me, and I can't speak for Cameron, but I believe he also has a faith walk as well in his own way. So we want to get in hashtag faith for the community to get in there so we could have you participating again. And by the way, feel free to ask questions. We love questions. We love comments. Yeah, we want to hear where you're from and all that good stuff. But yeah, let's get some participation here. If you have any questions for Brandon or for Cameron and I, we want to hear it. So please make sure to do that as well. And make sure you get in the comments and connect with each other. We are the Master Connector Show for a reason. We connect, right? And it's about human connection. It's not just about technology. But so talk about it. So you said that building self-confidence, self-esteem, humility, and respect to the foundation of faith. Can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the way I always put it, Steve, is I believe that I and we were created with this God-shaped hole in us, right? And so there's just something missing. I know for me when I didn't have it. And so what I did is I tried to fill that with a lot of things, alcohol, drugs, fighting or womenizing or whatever the things may be that were so temporal and just did not fulfill it. There was just never that peace or joy. So when I truly surrendered my life, my faith journey to Christ, and that was right when the bars slammed. I had faith. I grew up in faith. My mom's a pastor. I knew about it, but I'd never surrendered my life to it. Again, I was living a pretty self-absorbed, trying to reach my dreams, that type of thing. And when I surrendered, and unfortunately for me, it took, the bars being slammed behind me and going, hey, this is the next 5 years of your life. At that point is what I thought. Ended up being 3.5. When I surrendered everything and filled that hole with who I believe, created me and had the plan for me, things started lining up. Things didn't get perfect. I still had to walk out in prison 3.5 years every day, but I was more peaceful, had more joy in there behind bars than I did when I was pitching because it was all about me. I knew God gave me a gift. It's not like I didn't give credit for it, but it just truly wasn't living a surrendered life. And so for me, the faith journey and knowing that whatever I go through, and it's not like it's been perfect since on the other side of prison, there's been some great things. Absolutely. There's been struggles. It's okay because there's a plan. There's a plan. We're going to keep walking this out. Some days it's good. Some days it's excellent. Some days are just hard, and that's life. And so that faith has really played a huge journey in me, just trying to keep more of an even keel as I work through life. And again, the biggest thing is just in the faith journey. One of the first things you're learning is it's not really about you. It's really not. I mean, you're put here for a reason, but it's for other people. And so that's something I adhered to, and I still have a hard time with. I still have to be reminded and remind myself and get humility on a daily basis. But yeah, and the other part of that is a lot of people, they don't really want to hear about people's faith journey because people are hypocrites, right? I know I can be, absolutely. Well, it's like, we're people, man. Don't base your journey or your walk with God on what other people are doing. We have expectations for people that maybe aren't fair. It's like, no, man, I'm not God by any means, and I do make mistakes, but I know where I am in my life when that's a focus, and where I am in my life when it's not. And it's pretty scary. And if people are real with themselves to go, what am I really capable of? Just left to my own devices and going down my own thought patterns and paths and that out. So it's a huge moment for me, or a huge element of my walk.
And a mic drop moment as Cameron just put that up on the screen there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to just jump in and say it's really something that I'm searching for. I'm always hiring people, but right now we're hiring for our hiring manager position role. And so, when I'm asking waiters and bartenders and kitchen assistants, because it could be a part-time job, it could be a full-time thing for them, I don't ask the question really, like, I don't go hard and in depth on why do you want to be a waiter or a bartender. But for this hiring manager role, which is more of a full-time position with the company, I'm asking people on this great, LinkedIn kind of thing, why do you want to do this role? And as you were talking about, sort of opening yourself up to something beyond yourself, that's what I'm looking for. Are you just there to get a check and just to serve you? Are you looking to serve something outside of yourself? I'm trying to sort of figure out what's the answer. What's the perfect answer, Cameron? The perfect answer is something that is authentically, I want to do this because it serves XYZ somehow, and not just I'm going to be a good fit. I get a lot of these kinds of answers of like, oh, I'll be a good fit for the role. It'll allow me to grow. It'll allow me to. No, like that's not what I'm looking for. Does it serve your spirit? Does it allow you to serve other spirit? That kind of thing. And say, well, what does a job have to do with spirit and faith and religion? Man, my mantra is we're making people's lives better. And so if you're not about getting into this role to make somebody's life better, then I don't want you in that role.
Oh, that's huge. And I mean, I just think back to a verse that popped in my head, Colossians 3:23, and everything you do work as if working for the Lord and not for man. You don't really have to have faith to be a Christian to know that if you're doing everything just to help others and enlighten others, encourage others, you're going to get that right back in return. I mean, if you just believe in whatever, the earth, the vibrations or whatever, hear a lot of different things that are all great. That kind of servant heart is going to bring all that back to you.
No doubt about it. No doubt. Well, I want to just dig in on this a little bit. And Cameron, I don't know if you saw the audible I just called here. I just want to dig in on purpose a little bit. So write in #purpose, right? And I, you kind of touched on it. I think it's too important to not get into that a little bit, right? We all have a purpose. I believe we're not here by accident. We're not some, accident that happened. We are here. And I believe for me, and I want to hear your purpose and why you think we are here. But for me, I believe it is to make an impact and to make a difference and to help others and to really bring people to the light. Okay. And you could interpret that how you want to. I think, Brandon, you know what I mean. All right. But we try to keep this, friendly for everybody. So it's not like a super, religious kind of, but I believe there's light and we need to bring people to that light. And so that's my purpose, right? Is to be the light and to uplift, inspire, the city on the hill, right? We are the light, right? So curious, why do you feel we're here? And you kind of touched on it. I just want to kind of maybe put an exclamation point, underline, bold, italicize it, And what's your purpose specifically?
Yeah, that's great. And I think you have to know that you have a purpose to really thrive. I mean, you have to. If there's no purpose, then why am I doing this? What am I doing? Right. And so for me, it's funny you use the word be the light. Literally, when I'm walking into a practice, I'm walking into the gym, I'm walking into a facility, whatever I'm doing, my prayer is help me be a light in this place. Help me to encourage at least one person. And my presence is my power. So I literally walk in everywhere I go thinking that. And my hope is that I think my purpose, I'm kind of like dancing around it, but let me go back. I know my purpose is to be an encourager. I mean, that's 100% one of my strengths. And I have just found it. I get so much joy out of it. Just encouraging people, man. If it's just a phone call with a buddy who's struggling, or again, walk by someone and smile and they smile back. You can feel when people are feeling a weight of something or feeling heavy. If you're aware, right? And I didn't used to be so aware, but being aware of what others are going through and trying to encourage them, I believe is my purpose. If I could literally just kind of lock it into one word, it would be an encourager.
I love that. And, I mean, we see it, right? Especially now with social media. You saw it in MLB, right? There was a lot of big ballers, so to speak, out there, right? That have these huge, jet setter lifestyles. They have the jet, and that's great if you want that. But, my definition of success, and I'm not going to turn that down if that comes, but that's not my purpose. That's not what defines me. To me, what true success is, how many people are better off because we are here and we were here, right? To me, that's true success. It's about other people. So I appreciate your mission and your purpose. And I love that. And I'd like you to, I need you to write. I didn't take notes. I'm trying to not to be looking like I'm distracted on screen here, but the three things you say before you go into the gym, I'd like to get that written out somewhere. And or maybe you could repeat it. Maybe Cameron would be so kind as to type it out for us. Could you repeat it? Would you mind?
Yeah. So wherever I'm walking to, I'm walking through the parking lot. I'm saying, God, make me be a light in this place, right? Help me to encourage one person. And I say, my presence is my power. So meaning just being there, try to make this place a better place. And it doesn't happen by walking around grumpy or arrogant or any of these things. It's by seeing people and actually seeing them and smiling at them and maybe saying hi. Maybe you get into a conversation. It doesn't have to be, but just having a positive spirit. And then, the greatest compliment I could ever receive is someone just going, hey man, you go out of town for a week and you come back and like, hey, we missed you. Like, it hasn't been the same. The energy hasn't been here. And it's like, oh, awesome. That means I'm serving my purpose.
I love that. And, you heard it from the intro video of the show. I got challenged years ago to talk to strangers. And so when I'm in the gym, I'm not just talking to people, I'm actually making new friends. I really believe it's important. And I know that's a little unusual. It may not be unusual from where you come from and where you live, but in the New York area, you talk to strangers, they want to, they're going to kill you, like that's how it is, But thank you, Cameron. I saw you put that down on there for us, and I got to make sure I get that somewhere. And I want to use that as kind of that kind of mantra for myself as I am, getting out there in the community. And now that it seems like COVID is kind of behind us, we, or at least we're in a place where we can live with it. It's like the flu. We know you're gonna get it. So, but at least it's okay. But we're talking about this sort of self-talk stuff, right? Where we're, this sort of mantra. And I'd like to just dive into a little bit on self-talk. So hashtag self-talk, you can see, thank you, Cameron, for queuing me up on this one. And this is sort of made me more a little tactical. We've been very high level stuff, very, very big picture stuff, but tactically, right? On the topic of self-talk, why should you talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself? I know that was something that you wanted to cover real quick, and I'd love to hear a little bit of your perspective as we start to close down the show.
Yeah, no, that's what a great way to close it out. I'm very passionate about this, both in baseball and then, so of course, off the field. But it's really because I like to think of my mind. One of the most impactful books for me when I really started locking in, when I went on vacation, so to speak, when I got locked up, was As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And what they talk about there is in the mind, kind of comparing it to a garden, right? Love it. Oh, it's so powerful. And your mind is like a garden, right? So if if you just stop altogether, tending your garden, watering it, doing all the things you're supposed to do, it's not going to stop growing. It's just going to grow weeds and get overgrown. And same with your mind. You can't just go, I'm just not going to think. And I'm kind of comparing it to like in competition, but also outside of. So what's going to happen is thoughts that you don't want to think are going to come in. And I believe, you know what? Why would you think negative thoughts about yourself or poorly about yourself? And I don't believe you would. I believe that comes from somewhere else. So we need to fight against it. And by fighting against it, I mean putting in the positive thoughts, putting in the right thoughts. So in baseball, instead of, man, I hope I don't walk this guy. Oh, man, there's a lot of people watching. Oh, my goodness. Whoever. It's one pitch at a time, pound the zone. One pitch at a time, pound the zone over and over and over. You come off the field, and now that becomes, hey, what's the next best move? What's the next thought I want to implement? And a lot of times for me, it's verses. I used to have a lot of issues with lust. I say used to. I mean, still do. We all do. And throwing stuff in there like, take every thought captive, take every thought obedient to the mind of Christ, you got to hammer it home because you can't stop these thoughts from coming in. So if you don't have a good positive self-talk, mantras, if you will, then you're going to be thinking things that you don't want to be thinking. And you think about them enough, you're probably going to act on it. And now there's going to be consequences involved and you're going to be acting in a way that's not you, that you don't want to do. And I can relate to Paul in the Bible. It's like, man, I'm always doing the things I don't want to do. I know what's right, but I keep doing these, and it's like, well, as you let those thoughts consume you, eventually you're going to walk that out. So just trying to be very intentional about the thoughts you put in your mind. It doesn't have to be Bible verses, just positive little sayings you've learned from people. For me, like I said, part of my positive self-talk is, you're the light, your presence is your power. Leave this place better than you found it. Just constantly doing that and just keeps me from getting so self-consumed and absorbed. That's like, leave me alone. I'm in here to work out or in here to, do whatever. So yeah, man, I'm huge on the positive self-talk. I really am.
I love the self-talk thing too, and focusing on what you can do, right? So you want to eat more healthy. You're telling yourself, eat apples, eat bananas, because if you sit there and say, don't eat junk food, well, all you're thinking about is junk food. Yes. Right? Think about the positive things that you should be doing versus the things that you can't be doing. There's a way to focus yourself, and there's a way to talk to yourself that, you would think. And I love the idea because I think people need coaches, right? People need mentors, and the idea that, with even something as simple as talking to yourself, you need a guide, because sometimes you're sitting there, well, I'm talking to myself. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not doing the right thing? I'm telling myself the right things to do. Well, how are you doing it, right? Because if you're focused on what you shouldn't be doing, well, that's all you're focused on. Well, of course, you're going to go back to doing the stuff that you're completely focused on because you're completely focused on it, right? Where do you want to focus? Where do you want to be? And I think that's a big, big deal. I love that you brought that up, Brandon. All right, we're going to close this out. Before we do, I just want to shout out everybody. We are on next week, same bad time, same bad channel, episode 104. Everyone has a story to tell with Amy Blackshaw. I think I'm saying that right. Am I getting that right, Steve?
I think you got it. Yeah.
All right. All right. So everybody, if you're interested in getting Brandon's book, you got to go check it out. You can go to Amazon right now. From the bullpen to the state pen, you can go on Amazon and get it. It's available for download. You can purchase it right now. We encourage you to do that. And Brandon, we're going to ask you to do what we do every week. So what we do is we count down from 5. We're going to get our hands in the air. We're going to get the energy up, and we are going to count down from 5 to crush it. All right. You with me?
And before we do that,
Steve's gonna,
I just gotta say thank you again, Brandon. This was awesome, and blessing having you on here with us. You definitely brought the light. You definitely made the room better. You definitely made us better. You made our community better. We appreciate that, and because that's what we're about. We're about uplifting and inspiring and making sure that the world is a little bit better because they got to hear our message and words of encouragement. There's enough negative out there with the news and all the stuff. People have enough of that. They need good stuff. And so that's what we want to bring. We want to bring the light, the joy. And hopefully we've done that for you community today. If you feel like you have, make sure you share this out. This link will be up live, to replay. So if you're watching on the replay, #replay, but get it out, and make sure you come register for next week's show. Make sure you tell your community about it. Because if you're getting blessed by it, I don't mean to say this and sound kind of put you down, but if you're not sharing it, you're being selfish. So be generous and go share it out.
Don't be
Yeah.
selfish.
Yeah, you know. So
All right.
anyway, Ali, we appreciate you and we appreciate the community. But yeah, we are going to close this out. Thank you, Cameron, for everything you do. Be the man behind the stage, and let's count down and community countdown in the comments as well. Ready? 5,
5,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Crush
Crush
it!
Have an amazing week, everybody. We'll see you here. Same bad time, same bad channel. Yolanda's got it going on in the comments. She knows what to do. Listen, everybody, we appreciate you. Continue to be the light. Go out there, show the love. I love what you're saying, Brandon, man. Go out there, make the room better. Encourage somebody. We talk about it all the time. One of the best gifts you can give somebody is to tell somebody what they're good at, the positivity that you see in them, the good that you see in them. So that's your mission today. We're giving you the homework assignment. Go out and let somebody know how they bring the light into your life and what you think they're great at. That is a gift. Have an amazing day, everybody. We will see you next
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it.
You know, he challenged me. He said, you should meet 2 or 3 people every day.
We're talking about how to level up on LinkedIn and engagement, being the go-giver, the idea that being open to opportunity.
We all deal with challenges, but how do you overcome that?
Master Connector with Steve Spiro and Cameron Toth is live on